Both Samsung and Google are the two leading smartphone brands in artificial intelligence, and that is a fact. Google got to that position because of early adoption, access to vast amounts of data, and vertical integration. Samsung, on the other hand, got there because it jumped in early after sensing the enormous potential of AI by capitalizing on a symbiotic relationship with Google. So here we are, two Android brands shaping the AI trend. But you would think because Samsung had to lean on Google to get to this point, its phones will be far behind the Pixel phones in terms of AI features and their integration. Well, I kind of thought the same thing, but then I got deep into the AI specifics on the most high-end phones both brands have to offer right now, and that is the Galaxy S25 Ultra and the Pixel 9 Pro XL. And it's not what you think it is. In 2020, Google shipped the Pixel 6 with the Tensor chipset, which marked a pivot away from the Snapdragon chip that has powered previous Pixel phones. But behind that moment was the will to dominate the integration of AI in consumer electronics and to consistently make the smartest smartphones in the world. Now, the pivot to Tensor allowed Google to integrate a version of its Edge TPU technology on their SoCs, which made it possible to have powerful on-device AI capabilities that run efficiently and securely on the Pixel phones. And since then, Google has kept progressing towards that objective by introducing cutting-edge AI features and redefining AI assistants in a way that is slowly enabling users to deeply control their smartphones with voice commands. Now, on the other hand, Samsung has kept using Snapdragon chips, which now include dedicated NPUs to accelerate AI performance on their smartphones. Now, beyond that, Samsung also introduced Galaxy AI, which blends Samsung's own AI model with Google's Gemini to deliver an on-device and cloud-based AI features on their Samsung phones. When you explore the AI functionality of these two phones, you quickly figure out that even though they have a lot of similar AI features, they are very different. Like how effective the features are, how accessible the features are, and how efficient the devices are in execution. And trust me, these things matter as much as the features themselves. But before we do that, let me tell you about my goal for 2025. I have a goal of reaching 50,000 subscribers before the year ends, and as you can see, I'm getting closer and closer. So if you can, and we both know you can, please click the subscribe button and like this video, as this is one of the best ways to help me out. One of the most useful AI features for pretty much anyone who has either of these two phones is AI Summary. On both phones, you can use this feature in your Google apps and on web browsers. It's pretty much straightforward on the Google apps. The Pixel 9 Pro XL and the S25 Ultra give you access to Gemini Advanced, which allows you to use Gemini directly on your Google apps. Now, the way it works is it is similar to how Gemini has been integrated into Google Search, where you can get the summary of your search results at the top of your screen, then the web results afterwards. But where this feature really becomes useful and interesting is on web pages, where you can tell Gemini to summarize an article you're reading. And to be able to do this, Gemini requires access to your screen on both phones. One interesting thing here is that the S25 Ultra provides an option of choosing between a standard and detailed summary. Now, the standard option is very concise and information-wise is not as detailed as what the Pixel would generate in most cases, but the detailed option is pretty detailed. It leans more towards completeness, that is including virtually every bit of information you would want to see. Sometimes what it generates might be too long because it tries to be very inclusive, but the Pixel tries to strike a balance between the S25 Ultra standard and their detailed option. And the summary it generates tends to be pretty good. But you might read the article and end up realizing you missed significant number of details. So I guess it depends on whether you just want a feel of what the article is about or you want as many details as possible. Though the thing is, the S25 Ultra kind of gives you that option for both, even though the standard option is not as detailed as the Pixel would generate. So yeah, I kind of like that about Galaxy AI. AI transcription is another useful and interesting feature, and instead of typing, you just speak into the microphone and the AI transcribes your speech into text. Now, while this feature is mostly impressive on these two devices, it's much more reliable on the Pixel. For starters, the Pixel's transcription is more accurate. I recorded this message on both phones simultaneously, and the Pixel got every word right, while the S25 Ultra transcribed should as she'll, which is kind of funny, in several more messages. Now, the S25 Ultra made errors like transcribing pizza as pizza, while the Pixel got them correctly. So yeah, accuracy is one thing the Pixel has over the S25 Ultra, and accuracy is pretty important in transcriptions. So far, we have features that are quite helpful that can help you speed up certain acts like reading and texting. They are impressive, but also maybe not as quite as reliable as you would expect them to be. However, when you start using the image generation and image editing features on this phone, you will finally realize why AI is AI. And some of these features are really good to the point of being spooky. For instance, Add Me. Add Me is an AI feature I find most impressive. I used it recently while I was out with a couple of friends. I took a picture of my friend, left a space for me to slot myself in, then took a picture of me posing in that same space like I was there with everybody. And the outcome was really good. The usefulness and effectiveness of Add Me is undoubtable, but also I would understand if somebody finds it very scary because it's really wild. Now, Add Me is only available on the Pixel, which, to be honest, I'm surprised Samsung hasn't really done their own version of Add Me yet. That one is a major separator between these two phones. Now, another wild AI feature that is pretty impressive is Best Take on the Pixel and Best Face on the S25 Ultra. It selects the best facial expression from a series of group photos and creates one photo where everyone looks their best. And just like Add Me, it's pretty impressive but wild too. There's also Object Eraser on the S25 Ultra, which is called Magic Eraser on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. They basically just erase whatever object you want out of the picture, and this feature is impressive on both devices, but it works faster on the S25 Ultra. Another feature we need to talk about is Pixel Studio, an exclusive feature that allows you to generate images on your Pixel 9 Pro XL. This feature is mostly for artists or people that just want to play around with it because it really doesn't have any practicality for an average person. It doesn't generate images of people, only cartoons and objects, but it's really impressive if you get your prompts right. Samsung has the same thing called the Portrait Studio, which, contrary to Pixel Studio, only works in humans. Also, unlike Pixel Studio, which is a distinct app, Portrait Studio can be accessed through Samsung's native gallery app, but it is very limited. It only works on one face at a time, and you can't prompt it to generate specific things that you want. Okay, when it comes to video editing, there is only one feature I found useful and effective, and that is Audio Eraser. It basically eliminates background noises in your audio, and for instance, I did a test on both phones talking while my vacuum cleaner was on. And honestly, the result I got from the S25 Ultra is very impressive. It reduces the background noise to a really satisfactory level, while the Pixel isn't nearly as impressive. Okay, let's talk about the most important thing about AI on smartphones, and that is integration. Personally, I feel like what will define how successful any brand is at implementing AI in their smartphones is how well integrated it is across their phones. We already saw glimpses of this area with AI Summary being integrated across Google apps on both devices, but when we talk about AI integration, it's mostly about how AI can help you better manage your phone and execute complex demands. Now, to be more specific, it's about AI being an extension of your will rather than just a tool on your phone. And to achieve this, phones need advanced AI assistants, not Siri, not Bixby, and not Google. As crazy as this might sound to you, they're outdated, which is why Google made Gemini the official AI assistant on the Pixel phones, and Samsung adopted Gemini almost immediately. Gemini was developed off Google's multimodal large language model, so it has the capability to process complex instructions and then interact in a more nuanced way. Now, use Gemini to perform cross-functional activities on both phones like this one.
Recommend a Mexican restaurant tomorrow.
Here are some highly recommended Mexican restaurants in Toronto.
Can you put La Carnita in my calendar for tomorrow evening?
I've added La Carnita to your calendar for tomorrow, July 2nd at 7 p.m.
Okay, then can you put that in my Google Keep, please?
I've added a note to your Google Keep with the title La Carnita Reservation and the content Reservation for La Carnita tomorrow, July 2nd at...
But what really gives you a peek into how good Gemini can get as an assistant is the camera sharing. You can just point your camera at anything and ask Gemini to tell you what that thing is. For instance,
what is in front of me?
That's a Google Pixel phone. It's a really popular choice for people who love clean Android and great camera quality. What did you want to know about it?
Every time I've tried this, Gemini has always been accurate and precise in describing what my camera is pointing at. And it's an incredible feature. There is also screen sharing too, which you can then ask Gemini a specific thing about what's on your phone screen. The thing is, this feature is still hit or miss. It can answer broad questions about what's on your screen, but it tends to be inaccurate when answering specific questions like this.
So when is Man United's first game of the season?
According to the screen, Manchester United's first game of the season is on Monday, August 18th at 8 p.m. against Arsenal. Do you have any other questions about the Premier League schedule?
So if you have a recent Samsung flagship phone or a recent Google flagship phone, there are useful AI features on those things. There are some you probably wouldn't use, and there are some you probably shouldn't use. For instance, I think we should all read our emails. I don't think we need AI for that, do we? But there are really good ones there. And what I've noticed is that the Pixel seems to be pretty good at speech recognition and image editing and generation, while the S25 Ultra seems to be better at summarizing and eliminating background noise in your audio. However, the most important thing is that as long as Samsung keeps improving its own AI model and capitalizing on its relationship with Google, they will be able to keep tabs. The fact that they've adopted Gemini as the official AI assistant on Samsung phones means they want to keep riding that high with Google, which makes sense because integration will be important in the coming years, especially if Apple figures out how to make Siri or Apple Intelligence useful. And Google is not slowing down anytime soon when it comes to AI, so expect the Pixels to get more magical and get a little more crazy. Now, it'll be exciting to see how these things unfold. This has been really fun. Thank you guys for watching this video. What do you think about AI in your smartphones? Do you think Apple Intelligence can catch up, or do you think that they're just far behind? Comment down below and let me know. And with all that being said, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video, as this is one of the best ways to help me out. My name is KJ, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.